Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trucker Tank. Today, we have a very special guest who's going through a transition in his career. We have Long Haul Paul coming at you. And Long Haul Paul, this is Van, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Van. Nice to be here again.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And what I want to talk to you about today was your transition that you're going through. You've been a full-time truck driver for a very long time and a part-time musician, and you've reached the point in your career where you're going to reverse that. You're going to be a full-time musician and a part-time truck driver. And me, for one, I couldn't be more happier because, every truck show I go to, I'm always looking for you. So would you like to tell everybody a little bit about how the transition's going and some of the difficulties you're seeing or facing when you are making this transition?
Well, sure. I'm fortunate to be with the company I'm with now. I mean, I've been here 11 years with Moeller Trucking, and I got my CPA said, check out the exchange rates for health insurance at US Gov. I did. And health insurance has gotten amazingly affordable through the exchange rates. So I was able to get a policy for about $167 a month, and that freed me up to tell my employer, look, I just want to be part-time now. So this is the best of both worlds. If I don't have any shows to play, I can truck full-time if I want, or I can take 5 weeks off, like we did in May going into June. So you could not get this sort of flexibility just anywhere. And so I'm very fortunate that I've had this good long relationship with Moeller Trucking. And they've hung with me. And so I'm in a point right now, Van, where I want the music to increase and the trucking to decrease. But I don't want to fully walk away from trucking, because it's I've heard Tony Justice call it blacktop therapy.
Yep.
And the day may come where I will need to completely walk away from trucking, but for now at least, it seems to work pretty well as we just take on more shows. And just for example, in July, I told dispatch, I said, I don't think I've got anything in July, so I can probably just work a normal schedule throughout the month. And then the day after, I had the opportunity to be invited to at least join in for moral support, if nothing else, or to appear at Tony Justice's upcoming show in Springfield, Ohio. And then I got 2 other invitations out of the blue. I mean, and not everybody plans everything 6 months in advance. There was a gentleman came to one of our shows and said he wanted to have a company banquet. Could I join him over the week of the 4th? And then there's a nice little festival in our area that's they champion a lot of bluegrass music and a lot of local songwriters, and they asked me to come be part of the show just weeks away from 4th of July. So this is when you got a good company that you're working for. I got back to them, and I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I said, look, things have changed, and looks like I am going to need to take the first week off in July. There's no problem. So it's helpful when you have these long-standing relationships with good people, and that's how you grow. We're only as good as our network. We're only as good as our relationships. And so Mueller has helped quite a bit. So we're going to be playing more shows, writing more articles for Overdrive Magazine, and trucking just a little bit less.
Yeah. Now you're going to be at Evans Family Ranch with Tony Justice's show. Just I don't know if you're playing or you just setting up a tent there, but I
Well, I
know
think
they're
we're just
planning on
going to
you
set
being
up
there.
set
And
up a
what's
tent.
that?
And sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're. I'm gonna be set. That's okay. But I was going to fit to say BullSnot's going to be set up right beside you. So it'll be
Uh,
Tony, you, and me.
that's always, as they say, as the young people say, a good hang. I'm going to get to hang out with you and Tony, and these truck shows are such a nice place to sort of pause and hear people's stories, and um, and there again, Tony, a long time ago, I heard Tony say this. And it's always stuck with me. He said the music business is the people business. And what I've noticed about Tony through the years is he has had these long-standing relationships and partnerships with different uh, brands, people, entities, and he doesn't seem to waver from that model. He's had this association with the Evans family now for several years, and it only seems to be growing.
Yeah, and then he's got DPF Regeneration with Hattie Jane, and our relationship's been forever. And then Tony and we started out as fishing buddies, and then eventually it became into his promoting my brand of products as well. So it's kind of crazy. But that's what something's very unusual and hard to put together is all of Tony's sponsors. We all know each other and we all like each other and we all get along and promote each other. And you don't see that very often. That's something
That's
that's kind of
interesting.
difficult to put together.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me because I mean, Tony's been doing this long enough to where he just surrounds himself with good people, and so it doesn't surprise me that you all get along well. But I remember Tony one time. I signed a record deal and got a little bit of distribution in truck stops, and that deal did not hurt me. But I know that Tony was cautioning me to, music business is like trucking. He said, "Don't get in too much of a hurry. If you get in too much of a hurry, it could crash."
Yeah.
And it's been a slow growth model for us.
Yeah, but the way people respond to your music, it's just crazy. I mean, your music actually touches people and changes lives. I mean, so I know your upcoming album. There's some songs on there just definitely going to touch people and change lives. Like your last album, the one that I loved the best, Chevrolet Jesus. That was just my favorite song. It just meant so much to me. It just spoke to me. But this next coming album, you've got some that's going to be pretty spectacular coming up.
Yeah, we are
You want
really
to talk a little bit
excited.
about this upcoming album?
Sure, we're really excited about this new album. It's going to be called Legends of the Lost Highways, and so we are going to be featuring songs about actual people in the trucking industry who did exceptional things. We've got a song that we're getting ready to come out with called The Legend of Johnny Ray. And Johnny Ray was an early NASCAR driver back in the days when NASCAR was comprised of moonshiners and off-duty truck drivers. And back when it was a rough and tumble sport. And he actually gave Dale Earnhardt his start when Earnhardt was on his racing team for a while and wrecked his first car out of the gate. Earnhardt totaled. But this guy was just an everyday trucker who, but he had exceptional equipment, and there was just everything he had was like a show truck. And so after 9/11, Talladega was deliberating whether or not they should go forward with their October race, and they decided to do it. And Johnny Ray, whose family had farmed the very land where Talladega Motor Speedway sits today, asked if he
Wow.
could take his custom 379 around the track for a lap of silence. And he had almost like a garrison-sized flag mounted to the back of that truck. And so I co-wrote yet another song with J.D. Haynes out of East Bogue, Alabama. And it's called The Legend of Johnny Ray. I'm really proud of how that song came out. And so we're going to have different songs based upon actual people that we know. And name of the album again is Legends of the Lost Highway.
You know, that's going to be an amazing album. And you know what's funny? The first time you played me that song, it was at a truck stop down, a little south of here, Dalton. And I loved it then. And now that you're really cutting it, I love it. I know I'm going to love it even more. But what's even funnier is I didn't know J.D. Haynes at the time you played it the first time, and now I know JD. So the trucking world. Even though there's 3.5 million truckers on in the United States, it's actually a small community still because everybody knows everybody through a connection, and that's where I got to connect with JD was because of you and that song.
You make a great point. It really JD has this saying, "The road is long, but the circle is small," and it's a much smaller circle than you may realize. And it's I've written co-written some amazing songs with JD, and he sort of brought out maybe a playful and more celebratory side than I might have had on my own. And he's really a great wordsmith and a great storyteller in his own right.
Yeah, you are too. And so the combination just had to be perfect. So what other songs you got on there you want to talk about?
Ira Kenny is my Christian name is Denise's favorite song on that album, and it's an actual biographical treatment of a gentleman from Alabama who used to be a drug mule and got cleaned up in rehab, and he now drives a truck and runs a rehab ministry in Andalusia, Alabama. And Ira's always been a very sweet guy to know, and I think I don't know if you've heard that one yet or not. Have you, Van?
I think Denise sent it to me.
Yeah,
she may not have told you.
yeah. She'll do that from time to time. She'll do that from time to time. I've tried to. Yeah, it's just I guess if that's the worst thing she ever does to me, I'm golden.
You are golden. What about It Comes in Waves? You want to tell everybody a little bit about that one?
Sure. It Comes in Waves was a co-write with Shoestring Wall. We dropped it on YouTube last week, and we wrote that to memorialize his son, who died of a fentanyl overdose. And, it seems to be... it bothers me that we have accepted these overdoses as almost the new normal in this country. He got the news when he was on his break in Brazil, Indiana, and that he'd lost his son, and he'd been so proud of the boy. And we're also doing a special podcast episode on our PRX Radiotopia, which I'll give the Shoestring eulogy, and we're going to drop the song there as well. It Comes in Waves is it's a very sad song, but I have probably, when you get these songs, you put a guy like Michael Ronstadt on a song, when you put a guy like Jeff Templeton on, they create something you never could have created on your own. So I find myself, I've listened to that song several times since it's been recorded because of the great job that Michael Ronstadt and Jeff Templeton did. And it seems to resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, the Michael playing the cello on that song was so perfect. I bet you I've listened to it 35, 40 times. I mean,
Oh, wow.
it's just one of those songs that resonates. I mean, it's been a lot. And I got to hear the earlier cuts, and then I got to hear it when you mastered it, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you. We sent that down to Muscle Shoals to Donnie Gullett, who I don't think there's anybody in the country that can master like Donnie Gullett. He just has such an ear. And what we're kind of doing now is we record our acoustic songs in Richmond, Indiana, but then we send them down to Muscle Shoals because it's really good to have a second set of ears on what you're doing. Like a new set of eyes, a new set of ears. You can't understate the value of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the reason I appreciate so much when you send me the songs and I get to hear them before everybody else. And I can tell you my honest opinions on everything. And Paul will tell you, if you want somebody's honest opinion, call me. You'll get it, whether you want it or not. Either I like it or I don't. So, but that's been pretty neat as the relationships that we've been able to develop over the years now. And for Truth in Lending, Paul is part of the BullSnot posse. And I help sponsor some of his music. And it's a mutual respect.
And we really appreciate that, Van, because I'll tell you, I don't know when this manic need to put out albums is going to let loose of me.
I don't know if it will. Hey, everybody. Long Haul Paul was traveling when we was recording this, and so he lost signal. So that's a wrap for this week's Trucker Tank episode. And appreciate everybody watching. Please remember to hit the subscribe button down below, and that way you can see these shows every single week. Hope y'all have a great day. See ya.